What is up, Nickel City Mafia? Huge win for these Buffalo Bills. Oh my goodness, they don't make it easy on us. Never. You could pretty much predict every week it's going to be a one-score game, and here we were again, a one-score game. I felt like I saw this movie over and over before, playing out once again, where we take the lead late and they come down and either tie the game or win. Right, scored a touchdown, and no, Mr. McDermott's defense stood the test this week. So you know these guys that are on the panel here. No intro. Let's get right into it. Mr. Podger, where do you want to start, my friend?
Oh man, let me tell you, Mike. I think I had heart palpitations for the entire second half of this game. But I'll tell you what, I'm very happy that the story didn't go the way that it normally does, as of late, at least. They of course they pull up that stat of the blown leads that the Bills have in the fourth quarter this season, and you're just thinking to yourself, my gosh, a minute and 54 seconds, that's way too much time for Pat Mahomes. Also with two timeouts. And of course, there's that play at the end that is reminiscent of the Music City Miracle with Travis Kelce. But we got very lucky. Now, I'll say this. I saw the flag thrown right before. So
Yeah,
even before that happened, you knew there was a flag on the play. You knew it was going to be coming back. But what a spectacular play by Travis Kelce. Heads up move. And by the way, shout out and condolences to the Wycheck family. We saw that Frank Wycheck unfortunately passed away. I mentioned his name because he was the guy who threw the pass backwards to Kevin Dyson in that Music City Miracle play. And boy, was it reminiscent of that. My gosh, it just, obviously different scenario, but had the Bills lost that way and essentially, fallen so far behind these other 7-6 teams that their playoff hopes are dead, boy, it would just be poetic. But man, we pulled it out, and the defense stepped up at the end of the game there. Leonard Floyd with a really nice play. I am pumped right now. It's an ugly win, but we're going to take it, and we're going to ride with it, baby. This is the start of it all.
That's right. One game at a time. We got Big Al coming in there. Boy, we are lucky. I can't understand why they didn't keep on running Cook until they stopped it. What's going on with Diggs? Von was a little bit of the old Von tonight. Yeah, he had a pretty big pressure, at least one time. Allen, I couldn't agree more. I thought we got away from the run sooner than we should have. But overall, I feel like Joe Brady is doing a good job. Steph was cold, slow night. Slow night. He'll be fine. And then, Von finally looked like he trusted the rebuilt knee. Yep, he certainly did. It was time for him to trust that knee in this game. Jake Podger, illegal forward pass. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
And they showed Taylor Swift so much you would think she was playing for the KC. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, I think Kelce was just kind of showing off for her on that play. Like he's like, you know what?
For sure.
I'm gonna show my girl something fancy here. I'm gonna throw it back, and again, it was great that it was called back, but we got a little lucky there. We would have gotten the ball back. We would have had a chance, but still, crazy stuff. Sean, my friend, let me throw it to you, buddy. Talk to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, typically I don't prefer games like this, but I was just telling Jake, like in the situation we're in, where it's go home or die, or win or go home, or do or die, I'll take it. We looked really good offensively in the first half, and then it just seemed like Big Al mentioned, we stopped running, and then we went to these stupid 1-yard passes that Josh can't seem to throw ever. And then he would lob them up in the air. The running backs would get destroyed. Diggs was dropping them. It was just like a really weird stretch of drives. And then we make some good plays. And then we get holdings. And we get, shoot ourselves in the foot again. But it was nice to see at the fifth opportunity, McDermott's defense stood tall. And they made a really good stand at the end of the game. So, we got the 3 points. I was like, that's a lot of time left for Mahomes to score a touchdown. It was so beautiful to see all the Kansas City fans going like, holy cow, I can't believe he made that play. And just to be like, oh, it's coming back, sorry. And everyone's just like, nothing sweeter than the pure emotions of fans being super excited. And then you're just like, yeah, sorry. Then they get cut down. Then defense made it could have been a almost sack, but it was forced it into 3rd and 15. And then Leonard Floyd with a great pressure and forced an errant throw. here you go, 4th and 15, and the game's over. So good to see the defense step up.
Yeah, I felt so happy for Mr. McDermott. You could see that he was so relieved when they got that stop. With all that went down with him this week, with the error that he had back in 2019, the analogy that he gave, which is absolutely bad. But again, people make mistakes, and to have that come up 4 years later still kind of surprises me that came up this late, 4 years after the fact. It just seemed like, I don't know if that somebody was really doing their job and trying to research everything, or they were just waiting for a time to kind of, put that out there for the Buffalo Bills and try to ruin things once again for us. But no, the team, they played hard for McDermott. And again, everything to me is just, I love it. I'll take a win. All the losses that we've had, all the games where we should have won, we finally got one on our side going our way. But I want to ask you a couple questions. My only gripe, obviously there's some things to complain about. Yes, sir. All I want is the Bills to win a Super Bowl. My only gripe was, and I'll throw it to both of you, but one of them was, it seemed after the JA-17 interception, the offense went stale. And then maybe the biggest issue I had is on that drive where we're going to take the lead, right? With a little over 2 minutes left, we had just gotten a first down, and we decided to throw the ball twice. Yeah. And there still wasn't even the 2-minute warning after that. I was like, run the ball at least once, make them burn some timeouts. But man, and we could have burned off more clock when it happened. But Sean, let me throw it to you first to talk about that, because you and I were texting. We're like, what the heck did they just do?
Yeah, that was one of the few things that really, aggravated me. You were in a perfect position to control the game down to the last second. It's 2 minutes and 16 seconds left. It's 1st and 10. You run the ball on 1st and 10. It goes to the 2-minute warning, right? So then let's say you got 5 yards. Then you run the ball after the 2-minute warning. You get 3 yards, maybe 2. And then either Casey uses a timeout or you burn 30 seconds. And then you get the first down. Then they have to call timeout. Then you got a first down. There's 1:15 left around there. Then you just run the ball a couple times. They waste their timeouts. And then if you're close enough still to the first down, cool. If not, then maybe you get a touchdown, or maybe you get the field goal with barely any time left. It just didn't – the IQ that wasn't there at that point. There was no reason to pass the ball twice in a row in that situation, especially because we were running the ball quite well in that drive.
Yeah, for sure.
So, again, like I was telling you guys, since we got Brady, I didn't want to judge him good or bad this year. But in this game, he really had me like wanting to say, like, what the hell's going on with Joe Brady today? Because there was a lot of really bad decisions and sequences, and you're just like, you scratch your head about it. But that drive, there was no excuse not to run at least once to get to the 2-minute warning, especially because how this defense has been, and Kansas City needs 13 seconds to score. Luckily, the defense really buckled down and made a couple really good plays. But yeah, that situation, I was really baffled that we didn't run at least once.
So, Jake, what do you know of? What was Mahomes so heated at the end of the game? What he was?
I think it was just a combination of everything. Yeah, it was a culmination of just. I think the officiating was bad overall. Like, I think it was bad for both teams. There were a lot of calls that shouldn't have been made, a lot of calls that could have been made. It was, again, the lack of accountability for officiating this entire season has just been horrendous, abysmal, to be honest. I do feel a little bit for the Chiefs fans, but it's like, man, we've had so many of those calls go against us too.
Yeah,
exactly. So, and that's just it, right? That's the game. And obviously a moment of brilliance there at the end. I think everything just kind of piled up, and Patty Mahomes was sick and tired of it. Look at my cat back there; she's having a good time with this train.
I didn't even see her when I was over there for 2 days.
I know, man. She was hiding on you, but yeah, she loves that train.
Brian's coming in with something really, interesting. Maybe Kelsey was thinking about paying homage to Wycheck.
Crazy.
A tight end like Kelsey, and
maybe.
I mean, maybe he would have planned that. He's like, if I had the opportunity, but I mean, man.
I think Mahomes was mad about. I don't think he noticed that Tony was offside, so I think he was like thinking it was a bull crap call, but I don't think he saw where he was actually lined. He was about a foot, maybe half a foot in front of the football. And as you know, Jake played receiver. He knows you got to confirm with the ref every time you're on the line. If you don't do that, that's your fault. And Tony,
I think he was upset. Sometimes, here's the thing: I will say the refs are usually pretty generous. They'll let you know, like, hey, you might want to move back a little bit, and I don't think that happened. So I'm sure that was also part of the reason why I was pissed off too. And I don't know if on that last play, maybe he saw like PI or holding or something like that. I didn't think there was any of that. It looked pretty clean to me. It was just a hell of a play by Leonard Floyd, and no one was really open. So, yeah.
I was curious if he was yelling at a player that ran a wrong route or something like that.
Could be.
You guys think he was?
I think it was officiating.
I think
the officials, and it just kind of built up over time. And yeah,
pretty funny though. Love seeing the meltdown.
It happens to the best of them, and I mean, I think that was his first ever back-to-back loss he's ever faced.
It's pretty incredible when you think.
I think since like 2021, I think.
Yeah.
No, but I think Sean. I mean, they had lost, but back-to-back. But I don't think he was in one of those games, is from what I heard.
Oh, so. maybe.
Chad Henne had a play.
Yeah, so this might have been his first time.
Yep.
This is back-to-back.
Yeah, because he had like his knee or concussion or something, and he missed a week, and then.
That's right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
So maybe I didn't say hi, but Big L, hello. Stefan, hello. Womp Donkey, hello. Thank you for joining us. Trek Reviewer, Cut and Cam, absolutely not. No way. Good out there. Who else we got out there? Brian Label says, my prediction for the Bills going to Super Bowl is still alive. Absolutely. One game at a time. Yeah. This was a must-win game. And so back to my question to you, Jake. I mean, the Bills were in control of this game. I mean, they were looking good. We had a 14, I think it was 14-3, and we were driving again. And let me see here. I'd have to look back.
So it's 14-0, Mike. 14-0.
Okay. That's
we started off as sharp as you possibly could, man. I mean, we looked awesome. I thought at first, play calling was really good. A lot of good design plays. I like some of the bubble screens that we ran, and then it just seemed to be, I don't know what happened. It just like maybe I will say the Chiefs did make adjustments defensively. They definitely did some things, and that's what Steve Spagnuolo is really good at doing, is making second half adjustments. So they came out, they saw that we were trying to get James Cook the football any way possible, and it was a brilliant first half by him. But then you saw in the second half, they had a focus to kind of neutralize him. So they did a really good job in doing so. And I don't know if Joe Brady kind of struggled to counter that, because he just kept running these plays, and it really did make you scratch your head at sometimes, where it's like, man, like we were doing so many great things with James Cook and, kind of involving all the different receivers and doing some great things, but kind of got away from it. So I don't know.
Yeah. To correct myself, it was 3rd and 4 at the Bills, Buffalo 43. We were up 14-0. Right. So we're driving again. We got a 3rd and 4, manageable. Yeah. And that's where J17 throws the interception. After that, they come down and they score a touchdown.
Can't go a week without it.
I know, right? Keep the streak alive. I don't know how many weeks it is, but it's all good.
Brutal. 9 weeks.
Is it 9 now?
Yep. 9 in a row with a pick.
It's all good when you get the win. But yeah, that was a little head scratcher there. But I thought JA17, played a pretty damn good game. There was a couple head scratchers when he was throwing those balls, like shuffle passes. I think he did 4 of those or something like that.
Basically could have played a drinking game out of that.
Yeah. The thing with that, I was telling Jake, with when he threw that pick, he just doesn't have any awareness of no situational awareness. That's what we said in the military. You gotta have situational awareness. Instead of when he ran out of the pocket, scan the field, he just threw it, and the guy saw Josh rolling out, ready to throw. He just ran and jumped in front of it because he didn't see the guy coming. He just looked at Sherfield. He's like, I'm just going to throw it to Sherfield, and then just chucked it. And the guy comes out of nowhere and picks it. Like, you got to actually pay attention. Like, you got to, if you're leaving a clean pocket and then you want to run, okay, scan the field left to right again. If he's still there, take it, throw it. If not, then run it or throw it out of bounds and punt, because we would have punted them deep into probably inside the 15. And then that 4th down play, the play was open to throw it immediately, and he could have ran it. And then he shuffled and tried to do a little dance with Nick Bolton for like 5 seconds. And then luckily Kincaid caught a pass that was still 5 feet over his head. But, man, he just makes everything too hard.
Moments
Yeah.
of brilliance, though, too, at the same time. It's
Oh,
like, my
absolutely.
gosh.
Yeah.
But he does. He loves to take the long road, the hard road, it seems like more often than not. And most of the time, I will say, it does turn out pretty good. But when it's bad, it's bad. It's as bad as it gets.
I want to say, let's see here. Florida, first of all, Tommy from Mafia Sports
Tommy,
Report.
appreciate you,
Love
sir.
you, fellas. Go
What's up,
Bills.
buddy?
Yeah, appreciate you stopping out and saying hi. Let's see here. We got Florida Greg. Greg, first time I think I'm seeing you. Go Bills.
Yeah,
Great
first
to
time.
see that win. And crybaby Mahomes. Love from Florida. Appreciate you, man.
Very
Really
fun.
do. Thanks for joining us. And let's see here. Big L. What's the total money donated for Cardell? I'm going to bring that up here in just a second while the guys are talking a little bit more. So we talked about a few of the negatives, but in a game like this, I don't care how we win. I don't care. You want to see those cleaned up. And we did see something change after that INT. You know, Sean preaches this. You got to stay clean. You can't throw an interception because momentum shifts. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, we only scored 6 points in the second half with the winning field goal towards the end. So, but talk a little bit about that running game. Again, that running game, everyone's saying in the channel, why did we stop running? But not only the running game, Mr. James Cook was killing it both on the ground and the air. So, Sean, why don't you talk about that a little bit while I bring up the Cardell donation
Yeah,
stuff?
it was good. I was watching, who was it? The Shout Buffalo Bills podcast with was it Matt Perino. He was talking to a Chiefs. I don't know if he was a news guy or what, but he was involved with the Chiefs, and he mentioned how a lot of times the Chiefs will let you run the football because they want to, make you think that you could run, and then you try to go to pass, and then they're going to beat you in the pass or whatever way he analyzed it. He said a lot of you can run on the Chiefs because the basically are letting you do it. And Cook looked really good. Ty Johnson had a lot of good runs too. And it was a good balance in the first half, and everything was going well. We run a little bit here. I didn't like Josh running up the middle again because they try to take your head off, man. Like especially a quarterback. If they see a big tall quarterback run up the middle and you have your head down like this, they're gonna be hitting you with their helmet, hitting you with their shoulder. They're gonna try to hurt you. Like I'm surprised Josh got up after that hit late in the game where the guy hit him right between his neck and his shoulder. I'm surprised he got up after that. That's gonna hurt for probably a couple weeks. But he ran the ball decently. Running backs were good. Murray had a couple carries. A couple of them were good. One of them was not. But overall, I thought the offensive line did good in the run, and running backs was good, and probably should have stuck with it a little bit more, like Brady was doing the last 2 weeks, but he kind of shied away from it and tried to use the screen passes as a substitute for the run game. When again, Tommy always jokes about, I don't understand, and I agree. How can we can never run screen passes? It's like one of the easiest plays in the game. And the more I watch, it's like Josh just can't throw them. He has no touch with those 0 to 2 yard passes because you notice it when he just lobs it in the air. If he throws it, it's always either a bad throw. If he puts some heat on it, it's always off the mark, and then they have to jump and go behind him or whatever, or he just lobs it up in the air, and it's just those weren't working for us later on in the game when it worked a little bit here and there. But yeah, I think we should have stuck with the run a little bit longer. But hey, like you said, we got the win.
Got the win. I'm going to go back to the run again because I want to ask you, Jake. After I give this update, I want you to talk about the trenches. So I'll go to the O line with you and have Sean talk about the D line after this. So yes, most of you know that I've been watching the Nickel City Mafia or a part of the Nickel City Mafia. We've been doing a fundraiser for a family in need, and we need your help. I mean, we're kind of stalled right now at 58%. We've kind of been there for a little, about a week now, which is a little surprising. We really need you. Get out there. The link is in the description of this show right now. You can also, if you're watching this on your computer and you have your phone, just scan that QR code. No donation is too small. No donation. $5, $10. I know a lot of times people think, man, I can only afford $5, $10. It's not worth it. Yes, it is. If we get enough people donating that much money, we'll get to this goal, no problem. Again, we did this last year. We raised almost $6,000 for a family in need, and this is for a family that has a child with cancer. The little boy there, Cardell, is fighting for his life. So help this family out. And I get emotional with this stuff. I'm jumping off camera for a second. Jake, talk about this a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's all good, Mike. Understandable. Especially when it's a kid this young, man. I mean, he's going through it. Mike actually shared a picture with me of him. He was a special guest at the Bills game a couple weeks ago. And you could see he does not look like he does in this picture here. You could tell he's going through it a little bit. He's going through treatments and all that. And God, it's heartbreaking when you see that, as a father, I think just as a human being, just seeing a kid go through that, man, it's just like, it's not fair. It's not right. But, we're doing what we can to raise some money for them and help them with this fight and, obviously cover some bills and alleviate a little bit of stress, do whatever we can for the holiday season here.
Yeah. Thanks, Jake, for stepping in there.
Yeah,
and if you can't donate, I get it. It's, financially this time of the year is tough for a lot of people, but share the link. I mean, share it with your friends, family, social media, your coworkers. Any little bit helps. And of course, we have our holiday spectacular on December 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a lot of fun events going on that night. Chance for you to kind of win some gift certificates, some prizes, but it's all about raising money for this family. We want to hit that goal. So help us out. Greatly appreciate it. Sorry there. I always get a little emotional.
You're good, Mike.
Most of you know that I had my own battle with cancer. So, and these kids gave me a lot of inspiration when I was going through my battle there. So anyhow, let me get back here. Boom. There we go. And I don't have any Kleenex either around, Jake.
You're
Kleenex.
screwed, man.
That's what it's seen this for.
Yeah.
Tommy, thank you. We'll be going live at 7 on the 22nd.
All right, let's go,
us.
Baby.
Appreciate that. That's fantastic. Stefan saying, like to see Dawson Knox come out and make some catches. That was great. Was happy to see him for sure. Big L saying thanks for, Big L's, a big supporter of our channel, and he's big about getting these families help. And remember, this is an organization out of Buffalo, the Punt Foundation. And guess who is
Speaking of
Mr. Dawson Knox, right? Dawson Knox has helped raise a lot of money for that organization. What do we got here? Pass protection was miserable tonight. Joe Brady had no answer for the Chiefs pass rush. Hopefully he learns from this game and adjusts better. That's a great segue because I was going to go back to you, Jake. Talk about the O-line. They did seem to struggle today, and they were been so good up against some of the best defensive lines in the game, but today seemed a little different. What'd you see?
Yeah, it was definitely off. Spags was throwing a lot at him today, and I think my biggest gripe was, and of course, O-line, I'm very on the same page with Sean. It's like I don't like to judge right away, but just from the eye test with what I saw, there were a lot of moments where, you could see it in pass protection specifically. Tommy says it well. McGovern, he got worked by Chris Jones tonight. I mean, there were some plays where he was blowing up. But my issue was Deion Dawkins wasn't helping at all. He wasn't looking inside to help. He was taking on a DN, double teaming him essentially with the tight end. And he's kind of just standing around there. He wasn't really looking inside to help with any of that, So I think Deion in the run game had a very nice day, but his pass pro today was not great at all. So that's another guy I'll say I didn't think played a very good game, was just from the pass protection side of it. Deion Dawkins definitely struggled today. He had a rough one. Connor McGovern as well. I think Osiris Torrance, I know he got beat a few times too, but it's going to happen. Listen, this is a very good defensive line too. These aren't scrubs out there. I mean, you got George Karlaftis, Derek Nottie, Chris Jones, Mike Dana. So these guys are good players, but credit to them, man. I mean, they were able to get a hold of us a little bit and put some pressure on Josh. And, Josh had to run around a little bit back there too. There were times though, where Josh could have stepped up in the pocket and done his job a little bit better too. So I'm not going to put everything on the O-line. I do think from a run blocking perspective, they did a very good job. Pass blocking, definitely an off day today. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, let me throw it to you, Sean, for your thoughts on that O-line, because you're a big O-line guy. You usually do a film study every week. Was this the worst week you've seen of them?
Yeah, it's relative, bad or good is relative to what they've been. So based off of how they've been all year, it was a bad performance. I think, the first half they did pretty well. And again,
Mhm.
we say like, oh, McGovern got worked and he got beat on like 3 or 4 reps. We passed the ball 40 times. So if you lose
Right.
4 times, that's not really like a bad performance. So that's how people view offensive line. But Josh Allen goes 28 for 40 or 25 for 40 with 2 touchdowns. Oh, it's a great job. But he failed on 15 out of 25, 15 out of 40 of them, but he still gets a good day, right? So
Yeah.
we really have to look at them as they're not going to make every play. They have to worry about blitzes people blitzing from the left, the right, the middle, and that's when it comes on Josh Allen. I've seen one slide protection called all season, and I saw Joe Burrow against us do it 16 times. That's not 16,
Yeah.
but like this does it almost every drive, and the offensive line blocks the inside to out. So if there's a guy on their inside shade, they block in. So if Josh sees 3 linebackers and then they got a safety and a corner coming down, it's up to Josh to figure out who's the Mike, who's going to be the running backs picking up who's going where. Can I motion a tight end down here to chip on the defensive end? Can I bring a receiver in motion and maybe draw another guy out to help the guys out? Which he never does. And that's why I always wondered, is he even really reading defenses often? And as well as
It's a great point, Sean.
just when he was holding the football, he was holding the ball for a very long time. Like
Yeah.
I was telling Jake off air, like that sack, the sack that would have been a sack, but it got called back for the illegal touching in the secondary. Spencer Brown had Karlaftis blocked for 4 seconds, and then
can't ask for much more than that.
Once you get past them, you're not supposed to just hold on to the guy until Josh makes a play. Josh stood in the pocket. He started to run. Then he stopped. Didn't have the awareness again. Forgot about Karlaftis. And then he came out of nowhere. What's Spencer Brown supposed to do? Follow him and grab onto his jersey? Once you take him out and you get him out of the play, if you keep holding on to him, you're going to get called for holding because Karlaftis is going to try to run away from you. So once Josh steps up in the pocket and makes a move, he's got to get rid of the football. He forgot about Karlaftis. He came out of nowhere. So, but yeah, overall, they didn't have their best performance. Again, I'm going to have to see because a lot of times there's an unblocked guy coming in. Like if a safety comes out of nowhere and blitzes and gets untouched and Josh gets pressured, that's not on the offensive line. So that's why I have to watch first to really see how it really went. But from the eye test, like you guys were saying, it wasn't their best week. But I wouldn't say it was like a dreadful, performance by them. I think it was, Chris Jones is a handful, and then like you said, Dawkins wasn't really being that team player that we've been doing all season. You help out your guy, if you can. McGovern had a couple good reps. He had a couple bad ones. Dawkins had a couple bad ones. They all had a couple bad plays, and then Dawkins with the holding. He was complaining about it on his story, but the TV angle, he grabbed the guy from here and yanked him down. Even if it was slight, it was still a hold. And then he showed the angle from the back where the guy just falls forward and Dawkins pushes him down. So he's like, this wasn't a hold, but it was. So not their best performance, but I'm not gonna say they were,
Yeah. I mean, we got the win. Great points, Sean. We have to remember, I mean, the Chiefs are a damn good defense. This is one of the big differences this year from years past. They're extremely good. I mean, they're basically 6th in the league and giving up points against 17.5 points per game. Are you kidding me? I mean, actually, let me look at this. Points per game, they're actually even higher. They're 3rd in points per game, only giving up 17.5, and we just eclipsed that barely. Yeah. So great.
Mike,
great
does it say too? I think they had the most pressures in the league too, if I'm not
mistaken.
And
they were like 4th in sacks. They had like 40 sacks coming into today. So
yeah, so extremely good team. Like you said, Chris Jones was giving everyone, like he went over to Spencer Brown, gave him a little bit of trouble as well.
Yeah.
And then Connor McGovern, I give him credit because there was a moment in time where I thought we were going to lose our first old lineman for the first time this year because something like he was blocking Chris Jones and something buckled in his leg. I'm like, oh, damn. But he stayed there. He stayed for the next play, did not leave the field and stuck it out. So, again, this is a good defense. And when you can get a win and when you can run the ball, like you said, Jake, I mean, not the worst. I just asked you that question, Sean. I know after you watch the all 22, you'll be like, no, they actually did a decent job. Sometimes Josh was holding on the ball too long, Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's necessarily like the receivers is not getting open, or if Josh is just looking to make a play. He wants it to develop, and he's just holding on to it too long. There could be both sides of that. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta, if you see it, you gotta take it quick. You can't. I forgot which play it was, but there was a play where he held the ball too long, and even the announcers were talking about it, like he was looking for Diggs in the end zone or something. When there was a play underneath, it didn't end up getting a completion or anything. But definitely not their best game. But we'll see once it comes down to it. They did enough to give Josh time to make some plays, but when you get hungry to get a big play going, sometimes you hold it a little bit too long, and then I want to wait till Diggs or Davis gets 30 yards downfield and then throw. But sometimes with a defensive line like that, 3 seconds is all you can get, and that's a win. 3 seconds. So weird game, but like you said, great defense we played against, and that's like 4 weeks in a row where we played a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
So
it gives you a lot of hope going forward, because you face some of the best defenses out there, and you probably should have won all those games. I want to catch up on the channel a little bit here. I'm at Chatter. After the game, I went right into a Chiefs chat to troll. I wrote Bills own Chiefs and got banned. As you should. As you should. We have a Patriots fan in our Discord, and I had the moderators on watch. I'm like, keep an eye on this gentleman. It's Chris, by the way, Chris from our show. He always likes to chirp when the Bills are losing, but I had the moderators keep him in check today. And then let's see, lots of motion from your guy Gilliam today.
There sure was. I mean, he looked like a freaking. It was like arena football out there for him. He was running around in the backfield. And it was wild to see. I loved it. Definitely strange. Want to see a little more purpose from him. With the motion, maybe you throw him like a flat route or something. Do something with him. The guy's an athlete. He can make things happen. No one would see it coming. I mean, let's just try it out. Why not?
Yeah, Stefan saying, watching Dallas, Dawkins better eat his Wheaties, because Parsons has the motor that runs the whole game. 100%. I think they'll be able to plan for him. I really do. I know he's gonna eat, but the Bills have usually done, Jake, we were saying this before, the Bills have usually done a pretty good job about Chris Jones. This might have been the one game that he had his biggest impact against us in the last few years. So
yeah.
Let's see. Womp Donkey asking about Fournette next week. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me ask you, Sean.
Probably not. I think they're just saving him in case of an injury.
Do you want to see him?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, Murray, I like Murray, but I think just to see what Fournette has, you know what I mean? And Murray's old. He's been playing, 13 weeks now, and maybe he needs a little rest. I know we just had a bye, but just give the guy a chance. You know what I mean? You're playing against Dallas, who, Fournette has a little. Him and Micah Parsons have a little beef from a couple years ago when Fournette chipped him. It was kind of dirty, but he blindsided him and knocked him out pretty good. And then there was a big beef with them, so maybe it might bring some juice. But I mean, Murray hasn't been horrible. But I'd like to see Fournette a little bit. Plus, I'd like to see Poona Ford as well. But I don't think we won't see those guys unless, there's an injury.
I think Ty Johnson's been doing a pretty good job as well. So, I mean, Jake, what's your thought on Lombardi, Lenny?
Yeah, he has. That's the thing. It's like I feel like the Bills almost were panning. They were thinking like basically this would pan out where they'd be able to bring Lenny up and probably put Ty Johnson back down to the practice squad. But the problem is Ty Johnson also offers that special teams value. So he's playing pretty well on the offensive side of the football, and the fact that he can play specials. I mean, Sean McDermott loves that. So I don't see a reason to deactivate him. If there's anyone they're going to deactivate, it would be Latavius Murray. He would just be a healthy scratch. Yeah. And then you got to pull up Lenny, and then you got to make a move somewhere there too. Although he wouldn't technically be on the active roster because you get 3 games, and that's a very good point. Because that Chargers game, then you're only see the Chargers, you have the Patriots, and then the Dolphins. Those are the last 3 games of the season.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So-
just like Tommy said, we used to carry 4 running backs all the time because Taiwan Jones only played specials, and then we had 3 running backs. I
Right.
can't remember. It was like
So Reggie
Singletary-
Gilliam is kind of that guy now,
Yeah.
I guess you could say, but and he plays specials too. So
I think even
Yeah.
with him though, because it was like Taiwan Jones, Singletary, Cook last year, and then
Yeah.
who was it? Like Duke Johnson would play once in a while.
Yep.
But I think they could do it, and then you could put Ty Johnson on specials, but I don't know. I just feel Johnson's been Brett thinks Fournette over Johnson. I think Ty Johnson runs how I want running backs to run. He makes a quick decision. He runs hard and he puts his head down. So he doesn't play games. He doesn't like try to ballet and dance around. He just gets the ball and sees a lane and goes and puts the shoulder down, and hard to bring him down. So I like the way he runs. I like the way Murray runs. I like Cook's speed, but obviously you're not gonna take Cook out. But maybe just to see what it's like. Bring him all up. Bring them all up. Give them a couple touches, or maybe if we beat Dallas, they'll bring them out for like not that you should be guaranteed to win, but maybe they'll let him play against the Chargers or the Patriots.
I am curious. I just want to see what he has left in the tank. I mean, the guy caught 73 passes last year. He's got something left in the tank. He's 28 years old. I get it. And maybe he's worn down a little bit, but I want to see what the kid can do still. I mean, we brought him on this team for a reason, right? So part of me is like, hey, just give him a shot. Maybe Latavius Murray is a healthy scratch. You bring him up for this game against Dallas, and then he sits on the practice squad for a game like New England where we might not need his services, So part of me is like, hey, let's try it. Let's see what we can do. He's a bigger back too, so why not?
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
I like it. We got Brett out there, Go Bills podcast, saying he can jump on.
Brett says he could join.
Hey, I invited Brett. He said he couldn't make it.
Hop in, brother.
Jump in. Go to the green room, and I'll bring you on, sir.
He's acting like Brady. I can't do it. Just
exactly. Yeah, I can't do it. Somehow he figured it out. So that's awesome. He does. It sounds like most of the folks in the channel are in agreement that they'd like to see Fournette, for sure. There's no reason not to give him a shot. I mean, Ty Johnson's been fine, but it's not like he's doing anything special. He had that one big touchdown a couple of weeks ago, but it'd be great to kind of bring him on. Let's get him a few snaps and let's see what happens.
I agree that he can dictate a game better too, just because he has that name. People are going to be looking for him a little bit more, and I think he could do some cool things with the football, obviously. And last year, he had a nice year. Brett, what's up, baby? How we doing, brother?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Good, man.
Fantastic. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys too.
Think about it too, though. We made Hardy a healthy scratch and brought up Isabella for a game. Why can't you make Murray a healthy scratch one game with no hard feelings? I mean, Hardy made a big catch today, which was key.
He did.
But why not make Murray an active one game, healthy scratch, and then you bring up Fournette just to give him 3 or 4 or 5 carries and see how he goes.
Yeah, and he's much better. No offense to practice squatters, but he is not a practice squad player. He is an active roster player. I'm very surprised that no other teams even gave him a look this year. So, and for him to still be on the practice squad, you felt like when we signed him, there had to be some type of motive or some type of role that we had in mind for him. So I do expect to see him play eventually here, whether it's next week or the following week.
Hey, Brett, question to you, man. You're jumping on here. One of the things on the Ruthless show that I listened to, heard you say, is something about the Bills had to stay clean because I think the ref, whoever was reffing that game, had the most PI calls. And was it PI calls or holding calls?
It was offensive PI and offensive holding calls.
Okay.
There was an offensive PI call today.
But you have to be, overall, are you happy with how clean they stayed, or are you still a little disappointed there?
No, I thought they played pretty clean today. I was happy compared to last week, especially with having 10 penalties in one half. That kind of concerned me a little. But Carl Sheffer's called a pretty good game. I know that Kansas City fans, you're not happy about the Cardero or the Tony call. That's one thing. He was offsides. His foot was on the line. let's just be honest. We've had calls that went the opposite way for us, and we've been disappointed in those calls. It's just part of the game. You got to, just learn that those are plays that you got to line up on sides, and that's something that Tony's probably learned in, Pee Wee football, and his foot was on the line. That's just what it came down to. Do I think it had an effect on the play? Not necessary. Or not necessarily, I'm sorry. But that's just the way that the game goes. And, I mean, yeah, we would have lost the game if he was onside. Yeah.
Maybe. There was time after. There was time after.
Yeah, it was minute.
Right.
I think.
But Brett, you were spot on. They were clean. Only 4 penalties for 35 yards. I just looked at that. That was less than I thought. That's fantastic. It's fantastic in today's game. So 4 for 35. The Chiefs were 7 for 45. But the big difference again in these type of games is the turnover battle. And we won the turnover battle. AJ Epinesa with the huge play. Unfortunately, he got hurt at some point in the game and went out with
I saw that.
I
was wondering why he was out.
Yeah, I don't know when it happened, but we really didn't see him much after that big play by him, but huge play. So talking about that D-line, I know, Jake, I had you start with the O-line. Sean, you're usually a big D-line guy, so let me just throw it to you. How do you think that D-line did today?
Well, my boy, Big Eddie, was
amazing again.
A man on fire again. It was the 3 plays that stuck out was a tip pass near the end. When you can't get to the quarterback, get your big arms up. He got his hands up, made a nice pass deflection. He got another time where they gave him a half a sack when he should have got a full one. They gave Greg Rousseau the other half, but he didn't deserve it. Ed Oliver, so a sack for Ed Oliver, and then there was a one run play where Wanya Morris, who played very well. I know we all know Wanya Morris. He played extremely well today. As soon as AJ went out, he played well, but he had Ed Oliver on his collar like this, and Ed Oliver broke through the hold and made a nice tackle. And he's just been phenomenal for us. Floyd had a couple good plays. Vaughn made, I think, one or 2 good plays. Epinesa, of course, a tip to himself and the interception, phenomenal. I wasn't too happy with the other D tackles for majority of the game. I thought they made a couple good plays in the beginning, but I felt like they got pushed around a little bit near the end. I thought Settle and Phillips had a couple good plays in the beginning and then just fell off. Rousseau, made a couple good plays, but again, just almost non-existent. Just in the pass rush, there was one play in particular where Mahomes ran outside, and it blew my mind because it wasn't even like a design stunt or anything. He just crashed hard in and then left the hole outside wide open for Mahomes to take out. And if you remember last year, he did an incredible job keeping contained. Both defensive ends did last year, Vaughn and Rousseau, keeping contained on Mahomes, keeping him in the pocket, making sure he doesn't use his legs. That play used his legs. They got a big play for it. But, overall, I thought they did okay. Just like the O-line, they didn't have, the best day in the world, but they made some plays. A couple guys shined, and it just when it came down to the end, they all played good. I think. I feel like that last.
You think it's time to see some Poona Ford, Sean?
Yeah, and the way I think of it is just like, Phillips and Settle did decent today, minus like they did good near the end, the last couple drives and the first couple, and they kind of were like quiet, but they're not playing well enough for me to be like, yeah, we shouldn't give Poona Ford another chance. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how I feel with Murray and Fournette is like, yeah, Murray's a good player, but he's not like making me think like he can never be losing reps. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's nothing wrong with bringing Poona Ford up, and I don't know. I guess pick your poison. Phillips and Settle both haven't been phenomenal, but they both played better this week than last week, but still they got pushed around a little bit. And even Linval Joseph, he didn't really look good either today.
He looked slow today.
Yeah, as big as he is, he got moved around, at will. So just give the guy a chance. You're not going to hurt Linval Joseph's feelings by making him inactive 1 week. You know what I mean? Like,
let's be real, though,
I would like
Jake.
to see Poona Ford, but
Linval Joseph having the run down Patrick Mahomes. He's going to lose that.
I know.
He's
Yeah,
going to
of
lose
course.
that race all the time. I think we
Yeah.
saw that against Hurts as well, where
Yeah, he
he's
did
trying
jack
to
him,
run him
though.
down. He's going to look slow every time there, Jake.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're
Not to
definitely
check
right.
out, it's a sight to see. Let's say that when that big
Yeah.
man's facing somebody.
And I think he's definitely
Right.
exceeded expectations, by the
Yeah.
way. I don't think he's played poorly or anything like that. Today, he was a little quiet, of course, but I think for the most part, he's come here and he's done a pretty solid job for us.
Yeah, just a couple stats here while we I'm going to throw it to Brett to see if he echoes the same sentiments that Sean just shared with the defensive line. But we had the ball for 35 minutes of that game, guys. 35 minutes, 21 seconds compared to the Chiefs, who only had it for 24 minutes and 39 seconds. But the Chiefs did out yardage us. They had 346 yards to the Bills, 327. So, Brett, let me throw it to you. I mean, were you getting a little worried that you had seen this movie before? Bills score late in the game. Here we go again with probably the best guy at the 2-minute drill. I mean, let's face it, there's nobody better than Patrick Mahomes. And you had to be feeling, oh, man, it's going to happen again. But your thoughts on that, and then your thoughts on what Sean talked about on the defensive line.
Well, I'm going to echo a Taylor Swift song and say that it seemed like it was going to be a love story. I mean,
Right.
it pretty much
we
came
go.
down to. So I was thinking, this is going to be another heartbreak in Kansas City for us. And it's going to be another game that we're going to regret. They're probably going to, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce will probably have a song written out right after this game was going to end. Maybe it was going to even end up being a movie. That could very well have happened. But I was glad to get out of Kansas City with a win. That's one thing that I'm glad to see. The defensive line, I thought, played spectacular out there. There's some times, like Sean said, there's times where I would agree that the defensive line seemed like they were being outclassed against the offensive line. But I saw a lot from this defensive line that I was excited about going forward, especially with Von Miller showing that burst again, which there's a play where it seemed like he was offsides, but I was so glad to see him get that burst and almost get a sack in this game. I predicted a sack before when we were doing the the Red, White, and Ruthless show. And I was praying that we would get a sack from Von Miller, but we weren't able to. But overall, I mean, I'm happy with how the defensive line played. I think that it was a great overall win for the team, especially with all the circumstances. And I don't like getting into off the field stuff with the Buffalo Bills, but everything that happened with, the situation with Coach McDermott and the team rallying behind him, especially when you could have just imploded. And that's very well could have happened. You could say, you know what, I'm not fighting for this coach anymore. I'm done with him and let's just get rid of him. But the team came together, and I like the way that they did this, and it was a great victory, not only for the offense and the defense and the special teams, but for the whole team, and not only for the team but the coaches as well.
What a morale boost too, man! Like we really, really needed that.
Yeah,
and it was great to see. I don't know if you guys saw at the end of the game, they were doing the locker room post game and all that, and Coach McDermott, they showed him and all that, and they gave him a game ball. Everyone's saying he's got his back. So that was a cool moment. Definitely needed it.
And I don't think, I'm going to say this real quick. I don't think Coach McDermott's a bad person.
No,
I really don't. Listen, we all make mistakes. And, I'll be the first one to say it on air. There's conversations that we have outside of here that are different than what we say that's on the air. And sometimes there's things that happen in a locker room that you say that you shouldn't say, that ends up getting into the media. And those situations are, should stay in the locker room. And I love the way that they're saying that they're going to keep it, whatever happened behind them, we're going to push forward and we're going to play as a team. And that's how it should be.
Yep, I agree.
I want to go over, let's look at some stats here. Let me blow this up a little bit. Let's go through the stats here because, Josh Allen and Mahomes, pretty similar. I mean, except for Josh being sacked 3 times compared to Mahomes at 1. There's a stat here. I think Allen had a better QBR. I'll go look at that in a little bit. But anyhow, Josh Allen, 23 for 42, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Mahomes had 1 touchdown, 1 pick as well. And again, it was a fantastic play by AJ Epinesa. Josh's INT was him trying to make a play, rolling to his right. Usually when he rolls to his right, it's Bill's Mafia delight.
No, it's like cower and fright.
Yeah, not that time. He tried to force it in there. James Cook, good rushing game, 10 for 58, but where he really shined today, making up for that drop pass last week, in what you can call another reason why we lost the game. But 5 catches for 83 and a touchdown. He looked unstoppable today. They seemed to get away from him a little bit later in that game. I don't know if the defense made a change there, but let me just ask each of you. I want you to each give me your offensive star from today's game, and I'll start with Jake.
JA-17. We don't win this game without him. Even though the offense kind of stalled, the moments of brilliance again. We didn't even talk about this yet. I can't believe we haven't. That almost out of bounds throw he makes to Latavius Murray, the catch, no catch that Latavius somehow makes, and he finds him downfield. I mean, even that play where he sidearms it, gets past Nick Bolton, little first down to Dalton Kincaid or Dawson Knox, was it? I forget who it was, one of the two. There were so many things today. Again, it's like no one else in the league is going to make that play. And I get the interception. It sucks, and it's really bad when it's bad. But God, it's so freaking good when it's good. That's just who he is. That's what we have to come to accept. And I understand it. And until he really wins a Super Bowl ring, I think people are just going to continue to criticize him. I know there's been a lot of talk in the media lately about Josh Allen. But I also love the fire. By the way, that touchdown run he had, what a freaking man. I mean, just a manly run, baby. He gets in there. He's, showing his muscles off. It was unbelievable, man. So, yeah, I mean, I have to give it to Josh 100%.
That was the whole team. It was like a
the big boys.
Right?
Give it to the big boys up front, Jake.
Oh, for sure. No. Hey, absolutely. But again, I
was a man run, though.
There was some really great stuff from him, man. The numbers are not what you're used to seeing against the Chiefs teams in the past, where he puts up over 300 yards and 3 tuds. The numbers don't look great on paper. This is like a normal average day, I guess, if you will. But God, the things he did today, the difference-making plays he still made, even though there were some very ugly plays as well. I mean, that's why we end up winning this game, plain and simple.
Yeah, that play that he, where you thought he might have stepped on the sideline, I never had any doubt that he got rid of the ball. What I was looking at is, did Murray make the catch? Did he make a football move? And I was texting with Sean. I was like, I don't think they're going to give him that catch. And again, we get a break there. Did you think it was a catch all the way, Jake?
I think it was. I'll say this, though. I thought the Travis Kelce catch was an incomplete pass. So maybe it was one of those things where, because they called that a catch, they're going to call the Latavius Murray catch a catch as well. So maybe it was just one of those things where they offset it.
All right, let me go to Brett real quick. Brett, your star of the game on the offensive side of the ball. And you can't use what Jake just used. You knew Jake was going to go with the easy one. He always does.
I had to do
right?
it.
He always does.
He takes Josh Allen all the time. Of course, he looks like him. He should take him. But your star of the game on the offensive side, Brett.
Well, I was surprised he didn't take Reggie Gillen. That's who I was really surprised he didn't take. But for me, it comes down to James Cook. I think he played a spectacular day. This has been the last 4 weeks, over 100 all-purpose yards, and another great game from him. That seam route that he ran to get the touchdown, that was a great route from him, 25-yard touchdown that he had. And then just the way he was running the ball as well, just with some high energy, and to be able to get 5-6 yards per carry and keep the drives alive. That was one of the keys for me for the Bills getting a victory today. And they did a wonderful job of mixing in the run game. I wish they would have went to it a little bit later in the game. They kind of took a step back, and Joe Brady made some questionable play calls that could have had some time taken off the clock. But overall, I was happy with the way that James Cook played, not only in the run game, but in the passing game as well. I mean, what better than to have your number one receiver be your running back? And called it before the game. I'm going to say it right now. I said that James Cook was going to have a big day, and he showed up, and he played hard, and he fought for first down after first down for the Buffalo Bills.
I wish I would have listened to you, Brett, and played him in my showdown on DraftKings tonight, because he would have killed it for me. As it is, I did not win in that. And usually I've been doing pretty well with the Bills. But, yeah, you can't argue James Cook, Josh Allen, 1A, 1B in this game. And it's, they threw to him 5 times and he caught it 5 times.
Yeah.
Why not get him 8? Why not get him 9? It's working. Keep feeding him the ball. Let me throw it to you, Sean. Your star of the game, and they've already taken the 2 best, but are you going to find a gem here, a hidden gem?
Well, you guys leave me no choice, but I got to pick the man, Gabe Davis, being great today. No catches,
No.
one target,
2
just
targets.
Two targets.
Even worse.
Oh yeah, 2 targets. Sorry, yeah. Another fantastic game for him. No, I'm just kidding.
He was wide open on the one play though.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he has the audacity to get pissy and moany on the sideline. Like, that was the only time you got open in the last 3 weeks. So what are you complaining about? Relax. But I don't know. I did say on the Ruthless show, I thought the tight end room was going to have a decent day. And I guess if I wouldn't pick one, because I don't think, I think together they did a good 8 catches for 60 yards. But I don't know. It's hard to pick one, but if I can say the tight end room, if that's okay.
Yeah.
How about Dawson though? First game back, baby.
Yeah.
Impact catches, all of them, really.
You gonna let me do my guy? You stealing my guy?
Sorry. Oh, hey, no.
Dawson,
No.
my guy. I was gonna shout him out.
I'll let you elaborate, Mike.
I'm with you, Jake. I mean, having him come back, first of all, we weren't really sure. He was elevated and he was still questionable. I mean, I don't think we knew up until about an hour before game time that he was actually going to play. And to see him come in there, three targets, 3 catches, we know what he can do as far as blocking. I love the fact that now we have both those tight ends back, and the things that they can do with them is excites me for the rest of the year. So, Jake, sorry to cut you off, but that was my guy. That's the star of the show.
I love it.
Just good to see him back. So good stuff there. Let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. And let's start with Brett, because Brett, I feel, he's our special guest today. Haven't seen him in a while, and he's a newly married man. He should go first. Who's your star of the game on the defensive side of the ball?
So I'm going to give a shout out to somebody that personally, I would say hasn't been playing the best football overall, making some tough stops. But I'm going to go with the guy that's on top of the board there, and Taron Johnson. I thought he played a spectacular game. He hasn't been one that I've loved over the last couple of weeks, but this is the game where he really stepped up and made some big plays. Leading the way in tackles, number 1, that really helped. But also the way he was going out there on the field, and he showed his motor as well. I loved the way that he played. I wish he would have had an interception. That was the only thing I was praying for out there, but that was the only thing he didn't get. But he played very well out there as well.
Well, you all know I love TJ, and that's what I was, even in the Discord when they had that final drive, I kept calling his name. Come on, TJ, 1 play, baby, 1 play, end this thing like he normally does. So it was good to see him. 9 tackles out there. Fantastic. So, Sean, I know you're going to talk about Tyrell Dotson, right? Because he is PFF's golden child. He is our top linebacker, and I thought he had a pretty good game. So, but who is your star of the game for the defensive side?
Got to be my boy, right? Ed Oliver. I mean, Epinesa, I think he would have had a great day working against Wanya Morris, but unfortunately he only played 2 drives. But Ed Oliver, man, I mean, just the force on the defense, just doesn't matter what situation he's in, double teams, getting held, he'll break through and make big plays. Pass deflection, sack, should be a full sack. I have to rewatch it, but definitely from first watch, I thought it was all at Oliver, but whatever. But regardless, he was in on a sack, got a good amount of pressures, got a couple good tackles. Pass deflection was huge in the key moment of a game. So, but Dotson didn't play bad. He didn't play bad for sure, but Ed Oliver is my guy.
All right. And then, by the way, the channel goes quiet when we get into these things. I want to hear from the channel. Who's your star of the game on offense and defense? You can give it to anyone you want. You can give it to, if you can't choose one, throw out multiple people. But who do you think is your star of the game, both on the offensive side and the defensive side. Let me go to Jake for his star of the
I
game
gotta
on
give
that
it to
defensive side.
Rasul Douglas, baby. I thought he had a nice day today again. Was it him that forced the fumble? I was trying to go back and recap that play against Rashee Rice. Was it him that forced the fumble, or I forget who that
It
was?
was Benford.
Benford.
It was Christian Benford.
The
You're
only
right.
play
Yeah.
he
It
made
was
all
Christian
day.
Benford. Yeah. Yeah. I think, from a coverage aspect, Rasul has been our best cover corner. I mean, since we made the move for him, he's just been fantastic. And again, I thought he had a very nice day today. So he's physical, he's tough, just awesome. How about this one from Rick?
Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Terry McCauley just said offensive offsides has been called 11 times this year compared to twice last year and once the year before. Very interesting, Rick. That's a great stat. I haven't seen it called in the game that I've watched thus far this year. It happens very, very infrequently. So I guess it's good to know that 11 times. I mean, consistency is key, baby. So at least it can make Chiefs fans feel maybe a little bit better, but probably not.
It's a weird call, right? Because you have the false
Not
start,
often,
right? Yeah, you have the false start, but on an offside, the offense just might as well just, if they know it's on them, but they don't. It's kind of a wasted play and a high risk for injury for no reason. So it's interesting.
It's weird because it's not called often because usually Jake mentioned how sometimes the refs help you out, but it's from the lowest level. The receivers or tight ends are taught if you're playing on the line, you have to look at the ref and point to him and see if you're on the line. They say yeah or no, you got to back up. Tony didn't do that, so it was an easy call because he was offside because he was above the football. His foot was right on the line, but if you saw Humphrey, the football was like halfway between the two. So I know Chiefs fans might not like it, but it was an obvious call. Unfortunately, like Brett said, him being offside didn't change the trajectory of the play, but it's how the cookie crumbles.
Exactly. And so for me, my star of the game, and again, he, doesn't show up here with the tackles or anything, and he got injured, but he made a huge play. Unfortunately, we didn't score off of it, which was sad. But AJ Epinesa, I think they said on the broadcast that he has the most deflected passes from any defensive player, defensive lineman this year. So hats off to him. I would love to see him. Hopefully he's not dinged up too bad. But I don't know. I feel like we see AJ early in the games and not later in the games. Has anyone noticed that? Or is it
so true?
Is he just not getting enough snap counts? Or you have any thoughts on that, Jake? Because it seems strange. Now today's different. He got hurt. But in games past, he comes out on fire and then we don't see him, or he goes quiet for the rest of the game. I don't know. I have to check.
Yeah.
PFF.
I have a problem with it too because Von Miller's stealing his snaps. And listen, Von looked a lot better in the second half of this game, but he is nowhere near as good as AJ Epinesa this year in terms of how good they've been and the impact they've made on this team. AJ Epinesa deserves those snaps over Von Miller. So it is frustrating. Definitely agree. Obviously, he shows up real early in the games, even when he is healthy. It seems like later on in the games, and I don't think that's totally on him because he's being rotated out so much. I think at a certain point, you got to leave a guy like that in and just let him cook. He's been crushing it lately.
Yeah.
So, just real quick, Brett's comment about Frank Wycheck when Kelsey threw that pass. We kind of talked about earlier, Brett, and one of the guys in the channel, Brian Label, thought maybe, that was in honor of him. Maybe when Kelsey made that throw, it'd be hard for me to believe he planned that. But you could see it. I mean, he's a tight end. Wycheck was the tight end. What better way to, remember him than to do that? But it didn't stand, unfortunately. But still, I mean, he made the effort. Let's see. I'm sorry, Sean.
Real quick. I was just going to say some reporter asked AJ once about snap count, and he said he thinks it's good that they all get rotated because it's fresh legs, but he feels like as a player himself, he does better with more time because he just works the guy, and eventually he becomes too much. So And I've been saying that for years. You know, like he's been screwed around. They drafted him at 280. They said, oh, you got to be 240. So then he loses all the weight. And like, oh, now you dropped too much weight. And they got to bring him up again. So they were screwing him over. They didn't play him much his rookie year. And then now when he's finally getting reps and finally, after 3 years, got to be able to play at his certain body weight and feel comfortable without dropping and fluctuating all the time, he finally is proving what we all thought he could be. And, it's a shame that a guy like him, I feel like, if he's getting 30 snaps a game, you give him at least 40.
Yeah.
He can, or 30%, give him at least 40% because he can definitely do well with that. Because I thought, like I said, as soon as he went out, Wanya Morris looked really good. And, it was his first start as a rookie. We touched on him in the offseason, but I thought we could exploit the tackles today. And for the most part, it just didn't seem like it. So I think AJ being out kind of, was pretty hurtful because I thought he looked pretty good when he was in. But what are you going to do?
It's a good point, Sean, because I mean, how you kind of mentioned it earlier. The offensive line, the linemen are typically going to give up. They're going to get beat about 3 or 4 times, if that. Right? They're only going to get beat less than a handful of times, unless they're just trash. But if you're a player and you're kind of like getting the feel of that guy that you're going against, I mean, and you're being taken out, you're right. You're not going to get the feel for that, and you're going to maybe potentially miss making a huge play that you could have made if you stayed in with more snaps. Does that make sense, Brett, to you?
Yeah, it does to me. I mean, you're exactly right on that. And I think that having Von Miller, who's probably not healthy and should be on a snap count, maybe a limited snap count, will not only help him in the future because he hasn't been playing that good of football. Let's just be honest. And he needs to take a step back and really let his knee progress and just learn how to get back into football shape. And I'm not saying that Von Miller is not in shape, don't get me wrong, but football shape is a different game. And you saw for the first time this season the quick twitch that you normally see from Von Miller happen today. And maybe that could have happened a couple of weeks before if you were to rest Von a little bit more.
He is on a snap count, Brett. I think since he's come back, I think he's only been playing like anywhere from 25 to 30 snaps. I think it's been right around 25.
Yeah.
But like you say, he hasn't been doing anything. Those are 25 snaps. To Jake's point, or Sean's point, love to see AJ getting more of, right? So it is interesting. But the Bills have done this for years, right? It is good to have fresh legs in there, but sometimes you're like, man, some of the, like Micah Parsons, does he go out? Is he on a snap count? Do they rotate him, keep him fresh? No, the guy can go. He's got a motor that doesn't stop.
But another thing to your point, Mike, is which one do you trust more as a closer at the end of the game? Do you trust at this current time? Do you trust AJ Epinesa or do you trust Von Miller? And Von, don't get me wrong, he's done a lot throughout his career, and I'm not disrespecting Von Miller, but at this time, Von Miller clearly is not healthy. And that's one thing that you have to factor in is the health of a player like Von Miller, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And AJ Epinesa is having a spectacular season this year as well. So, I mean, I trust at the moment AJ a little bit more than I do Von. And that could very well change in the near future. But
yeah,
one thing I was going to add, though, Mike, back to my comment that I made on YouTube, I was going to ask you guys a real quick question. Do you think that with the Frank Wycheck and that throw from that we saw from Travis Kelce, do you think that maybe the curse over Buffalo has ended and this could be the new beginning for the Bills going forward?
Yes. I love that, Brett.
Yeah, Brett.
Way to put that together, brother. That got me fired up.
Right.
Rest in peace to Frank, by the way, though. Honestly, it is sad. He was a hell of a football player. It sounds like he was a very good man, too. And, 52 years old, you just hate to see that, man. Just
of course. When I saw that Travis Kelce and that play got called back with Tony for the offsides, I was thinking of maybe this is the end of the curse for Buffalo. And I wanted to ask you guys, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe all those years of, the crap that we've taken, it just finally came to an end. And who knows? We could see a Super Bowl for Buffalo at the end of the year.
I freaking hope so. Mike, I want to postpone that curse video for as long as possible, guys. We were thinking about releasing this multiple weeks, and I'm glad we get to wait another week for that one.
Well, we would have waited till after the season, Jake, no matter what. This is going to take us that long.
Good.
And hopefully we don't ever have to make it. We still got a shot here. I can't even bring up this guy's name or say it, but Life, I'll say Life with two.
Life with two weenies.
Does anyone actually know what a catch is nowadays? What are you referring to there, Life? Talk to me about that a little bit more. Which plays are you referring to? It is tough. Catches today with all the
Travis
rules
Kelce and Latavius.
Yeah. So for me, I thought Kelce's was called properly. That's what I thought, at least. I know, Jake, you said it was an incomplete. I felt it was a catch and a fumble, which he recovered. John's out there, says, I never liked the Von Miller signing. Hopefully he proves me wrong, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, him getting injured really threw a wrench in things last year, right? And ACLs are tough to come back from. And we all thought, oh, it's fine. He'll be able to come back and be the same Bond that he was a year ago, but he's older. It's just not that easy. So, I mean, up until the injury, John, he was killing it last year. And we saw a little life from him today. And hopefully he's starting to trust that knee a little bit more. Anybody have any comments on that?
Yeah, I would. So I'll say this. Last year he registers 8 sacks and was absolutely killing it. He was that game closer that we all thought, especially you go back to the Chiefs game last year. We don't win that game without Von Miller. I mean, he makes a huge play at the end of the game there. So obviously, it's frustrating because you think this is the Von Miller that's going to return this year, and it just hasn't happened. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm totally disappointed with the signing, but it doesn't look as good now because we owe him so much money.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to play the guy, even though he's not making as much of as an impact as he was last year.
Yeah. One thing I would say, to go along with what Jake is saying is when you looked at the Buffalo Bills before having Von Miller, and 2021 was a spectacular season that we had, we were just missing that guy that was, a Hall of Famer that could take us to the next level. And I picture Von Miller being added to the roster, and it pretty much makes me think back to like the New York Yankees and having Mariano Rivera. You needed that guy that could come into the game and you could depend on that player. We haven't really had that type of guys since Bruce Smith retired. We haven't had that closer that you can really count on every single snap to go out there and register a sack for you. And we've had some great defensive ends. Don't get me wrong. We've had Aaron Schobel, not only him, but Mario Williams and Jerry Hughes, some good ones. But there's never been that closer that is a first ballot Hall of Famer that you can say, okay, go out there and do this and, pretty much get us 3 outs. That's all we needed. We needed those 3 outs. And that's what Von was supposed to be. But unfortunately, he got injured, and it hasn't been the same. And we've also had some other injuries with players like Tre'Davious White and some other big ones that have happened as well. So it's kind of derailed the whole process. But I think this is the start of something new from Von Miller, and we could see hopefully his first sack next week against the Dallas Cowboys.
Brett and Sean, they always go to the baseball reference all the time, man. They pull that out of their back pocket. At least you were talking about one of my favorite closers for the Yankees, Rivera. So, yes, I agree with you there. But it's funny how you guys always go back to those baseball references. Here, look, John Paul's saying, hey, curse doesn't end till we take O.J. Simpson's name off the stadium. My goodness, that is a little bit of a black guy.
He didn't do it.
A little bit of a black guy. Yeah, I mean, I got to see, show my age here, I got to go to see O.J. Simpson at Rich Stadium. I was young, but I got to see a game. And that used to be something I could brag about. It's not something I even talk about anymore. So I don't know. You could have a lot of people on both sides on this one, John.
He's innocent,
So,
Mike.
I mean, from a player's perspective, if you're going to judge him there, fantastic. I mean, come on, the electric company, that offensive line was incredible. And he says they better not add his name to the new stadium. I guess we'll find out in what.
I think they're going to probably. I mean, if he's on the Wall of Fame and his number is unofficially retired, I mean, yeah, they probably will. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a tough look, of course, just being affiliated with all that stuff. But hey, you go to Rick's Ravens and you go Ray. You talk about Ray Lewis, a guy talking about murderers. I did a whole thesis on that one.
Speaking of that,
of course, Ray Lewis was found innocent. But yeah, hey, how about that Ravens game today, by the way? Holy smokes.
My goodness.
Insane ending to that one. Rick, you had to be fired up, man. That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a tough road for them, but I think they can do it. Lamar looked good at times today. He looked brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. How about Odell? Nice game.
Oh, Jake,
Zay Flowers,
sucked into the MVP talk with Lamar.
I know. No. We're
He's not even a top 10 quarterback.
He's not Josh Allen. But I thought Lamar had a nice day. And I'll say this, Zay Flowers is an absolute dog, and I knew he would have been. He's Steve Smith 2.0.
You called it.
Yeah, the defenses looked a little suspect. I thought they were I mean, they could have had an off day, but I thought they were. I haven't seen a lot of the games, but of course, since the Bills weren't playing, my son always wants to watch the Ravens game. So we had that on up until the Bills game was about to start. But yeah, I mean, we have Ravens guys on the channel here. We support you guys. Of course, my son does. If the Bills aren't, they are his number one team, but we follow the Ravens closely. So yeah, it's a tough finish, Rick. I mean, I'll tell you, the only game I really care about you winning is the team's Dolphins game. Please win that game for us. If you win that game, I mean, I'm happy if you get the top seed. Just win that game for us, buddy, please. Bruce Smith, if the glove doesn't fit, the glove don't fit, I quit. Man, I got to tell you guys something. I don't even know if you guys were born back then, honestly, but dude, that everybody. So I remember the day. I mean, any Bills fan who was old enough to remember. I remember when that white Bronco, it came up and he was driving all around, right? It was breaking news. I got calls from my wife at the time. She's like, do you see what's going on? And we were just glued to our TV sets. And then the whole trial, dude, I got to say, man, every day there was, like, even at the work, I think I worked at Taco Bell in Irvine, California at the time.
Wow.
And I remember, like, when I was home, all I was in front of the TV watching that trial. And then I remember when they came in to give the verdict, everybody, I mean, all kinds of companies, we were downstairs where they had a TV and everyone's just waiting for that verdict. And I got to tell you, when the verdict came in, there was a lot of cheers for that. And I mean, again, he was not found guilty, but later on, I think in the civil case, he lost that one. And then you saw some crazy things that he did later in life. So that even put more of a question mark on the person himself. So anyhow, but yeah, guys, the amount of TV that I was glued to during that trial was something. It was crazy. Something. The documentary that's out there about it on, I think it's on Netflix or whatever. It's extremely good. You got to watch it if you haven't.
I will say though, with the situations we got going on now with our team, everybody says, let the legal process figure it out. So I wasn't alive for the stuff. I was born in 95, but it seems like a lot of people think he probably did it, but he was proved innocent. So I judge first, because nobody's going to, Von Miller's not going to ever talk to me in my life. So if I want to say, oh, that's not that good of him, he's a bad person, and then he's innocent, then I'll say, oh, well, he was innocent, I feel bad for him. But just because the justice system found someone innocent doesn't mean it's really the truth. So that's why people can feel how they feel. So it's how funny how it works out sometimes.
Sean, I was saying I watched that trial, and there was no way I felt he was innocent. Did I want him to be innocent because I was a Bills fan initially? But dude, I watched that. And I was like, there's no way he's going to get off. But this is what happens when you're able to pay some of the best lawyers in the world. And that glove doesn't fit, you must have quit line, which we all have heard of, even if you weren't alive during that time, was brilliant. But there was some testimony, dude, that you're like, there's no way this guy is innocent. I'm serious, man.
Then he writes a book, If I Did It. Are you kidding me right now? Come on.
Exactly.
Did you guys see? There's a funny video. I don't know if it's real. It has to be. But there was some lady that was interviewing him, and then she was like, he was doing something which he probably thought was a joke, but it wasn't that funny. And he was hiding behind a door. And then she walked in. He got a knife, and he's like doing the scream music, and then she's
like trying to stab her and everything.
Yeah,
like,
what's he doing? Like,
I gotta go back to Rick here because I put this in the
Rick,
Discord.
we were with you, brother. That's how I felt during this entire Bills game today too. So I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah,
at least
Harbaugh.
you're 10-3, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after a touchdown, I think Harbaugh, or I think it was a play. Yeah, it was a play that was already reviewable. They reviewed it. He throws a review flag, and he can't review it. They already made the decision, so he loses a timeout, a very valuable timeout. And I put in the Discord, man, if that was McDermott, people are like, gotta fire this guy.
Oh yeah.
But I think Rick's been calling for John Harbaugh's job for years. So
Yes.
Replace John Harbaugh with Jim Harbaugh.
I don't know, Rick. Would you like that
with
call?
McDermott.
Oh, I love this, Stefan. I didn't know this. My first car at 16 was
awesome.
a white Ford Bronco. My license plate was a vanity that said Juice. Oh my God, that's
great.
Crazy.
Nice.
Rico, red flag review would have stroked me out.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
And then he, by the way, he did mention Life with Two Weenies. Incredible name, by the way, again. Inbounds on the sideline, goal line, in the end zone, going to the ground, all have different interpretations by rule, by officiating crew, and in-house expert referee. That's so
Very
true. And it does seem like everyone has a different take on it. So I don't know what it catches either. I feel like instant replay while it has improved some things, it's also kind of ruined the game in a few different aspects, just because now you have the slow-mo and it's just, there's too much analysis and interpretation. It's slowing down the game. And yeah, as a fan, I can't stand it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I always forget to say this, but hopefully for those that have been out there, please hit that like button for us. We greatly appreciate it. It really helps our channel out. And if you're new to the channel, I've seen a few new folks out there today. Smash and drop a nickel on that subscribe button for us. We greatly appreciate it. By the way, show some love to Sean from the Red, White, and Bills, getting over to his channel and smash that subscribe button. And same with Brett from the Go Bills podcast. They are on a lot of our shows. They have their own show on Nickel City Mafia as well, but they also have their own channel, and they do a fantastic job. Let's see here, Rick coming back in with, I don't know what happened, but last year in 4th and short, we always went for it. But this year, Harbaugh always takes the conservative approach, kicks a field goal or punts. Bad analytics. I don't know
what
he's getting.
Why? Because of the fan base, Rick. Because last year he got killed for losing games, going for it on 4th down, and hearing all the fans. And now he's like, okay, I'll give them what they want. And then now he's, trying to appease everybody, and it's not working out. Just go back to going for it.
I missed that interaction between him and Lamar, where he's like, Lamar, what do you want to do? And he's like,
yeah, exactly.
And then it was a beautiful thing, man. Bring that John Harbaugh back.
Yeah.
Need it.
Yeah. Poor Rick. Rick was out there. He was in the Discord. He was supporting the Bills today because obviously he wanted the Chiefs to lose so the Ravens can keep moving up the board. But Rick's usually supporting the Bills. Got to give him credit for that.
He's a good man.
Let's go through. I wanted to go through, where the current standings are in the playoffs right now, where the seeds are, and this is current. NFL.com does a good job. So obviously the Ravens moved up to the top seed. I don't know what happens if the Dolphins win tomorrow night. I mean, obviously they'd be tied. I don't know if they'll take the top seed.
Ravens got three conference losses. Dolphins have 2.
Okay.
So the Dolphins will go up to 1. Hopefully they lose though.
So the Chiefs, 8-5, guys, 8-5. They are 1 game ahead of us. Too bad they didn't have any. Well, I don't know. I mean, in their division in the West, I don't think there's anyone really pressing them right now, right? Was there? There were
Broncos,
a couple teams.
7-6.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Broncos beat them.
It's going to be a fight.
All right. All right.
Broncos beat them too, so it's interesting.
So the Chiefs kind of stayed at number 3 where they were. The Jaguars were. All of you surprised that Trevor Lawrence played in this game? We kept hearing high sprain, 4 to 6 weeks, and he shows up. I mean, credit to him, Jake, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't pretty. They didn't look good. They got beat, and Joe Flacco looks like a reincarnated version of himself right now. Although I gotta say, thank God they have a running game though, because that play action was. I mean, they were able to really sell it today, and obviously left David Njoku wide open a few times.
Yeah, I think Lawrence had 3 interceptions in that game. So kind of a rough game, but man, I mean, the toughness, high ankle sprain, usually 4 to 6 weeks, and here he is back the next week. Like you said, the Browns, they kind of moved up one with that big win. Flacco, like you said, looking good. We got a little help earlier, I think it was Thursday, in that Patriot game against the Steelers. That was a big surprise. Brett, you and Sean do Tuesday night picks. And I'm pretty sure I heard Sean call. He said it was going to be his upset of the week, but then he changed it. It wasn't his upset, but he still called the Patriots to win this game. Was that a big surprise to you, Brett, that the Steelers fell to the Patriots?
No, it wasn't that big of a surprise. I would say Mitch Trubisky hasn't been that spectacular of a quarterback, so I wasn't really surprised. I was more surprised at how well Bailey Zappi played. That's what really shocked me. And, you could say that the Patriots were going to probably phone it in a little bit. That's why I was thinking more of what we're going to see. And I felt like the Steelers defense didn't play all that well either. So, I mean, I wasn't shocked that the Patriots won, but I just felt like the Steelers would keep it close and then find a way to get a win. But unfortunately, that didn't happen, and Sean's moving up in the rankings for trying to get that jersey back from me that I'm hopefully going to take into effect coming soon. But he hit. I don't believe you hit your upset of the week, though, Sean. Did you?
I did. I picked the Bills.
Oh, you picked the Bills. That's right. You picked the Bills for your upset of the week. I picked the Cleveland over the Jaguars, and I also picked the Jets in honor of one of our close family members. Her father passed away, and we had the funeral yesterday. So I picked the Jets in the honor of him, and sure enough, the Jets come out of it with a win, which was incredible to see, because I did not think that they were going to beat Houston. To be honest with you, I took a pass on the game, but Sean was lucky enough to be a good sport about everything, and he gave me the win, which was nice of him to do.
Sean, were you just calling that because you just knew that we were chasing the Steelers and you wanted that, or did you truly believe that they could beat the Steelers?
I did, just because I was like, as bad as the Patriots are, Belichick doesn't like to get embarrassed. So you're in prime time. He loves beating the Steelers, and I just thought, with how bad the Steelers offense has been all season, well, for years, really, I just felt like the defense was going to step up big for the Patriots. And I didn't expect, I thought it was going to be, what did I say, Brett, 13-6 or 10-7. I thought it was going to be like that kind of game. I didn't expect Bailey Zappi to get 21 points in the first half, but I thought it was going to be like a defensive game where the Patriots got like a pick 6 or something and they win the game close. But just had that feeling. I just had a feeling that Bill Belichick doesn't like to get embarrassed on live television.
Well, good call, because it definitely helped us out. And now there's just a bunch at 7-6. The Colts, I mean, Jake asked me the other day on our show, he's like, Mike, the guys behind the Bills, the teams, and one of those teams, when he asked me that question, was the Bengals. And I'm like, I'm not so worried about the Bengals without Burrow. They don't have a chance. But here they are. They go out, and they are looking pretty good. They're actually, I believe, they're ahead of us because of the tiebreaker with us. But man, again, I think it was a help to us. I mean, getting all these teams at 7-6, we have to leapfrog 3 of them, and actually 4 of them right now. Yeah, but I still like that there's more possibilities in the long run that some of these teams are going to keep falling. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
gonna say sorry. I think that it hasn't updated fully yet because I think on the broadcast it showed the Bengals were the 7th seed now because they beat the Colts.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yep.
It's
the
interesting
Colts-
because they all show 13, so I don't know.
Because
Yeah,
the
that is
Colts,
weird.
Colts are ahead of us still too, regardless. But
Yep.
I think I don't know who the 6 is, but I'm pretty sure the Bengals they moved them up to the 7. I don't know.
So the Texans, we got help from the Jets, as we said earlier in the show.
That was beautiful.
That was beautiful and total surprise. Although that game was brutal weather-wise, CJ Stroud didn't know what hit him with that weather.
Jeez.
Yeah, if I was to tell you 10 for 23, 91 yards, who is it? CJ Stroud or Zach Wilson?
You're gonna say
Yeah.
Zach.
Freaking yeah. And Zach Wilson, 27 of 36, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. Are you
Dude,
kidding me right now?
he came out in the
What?
second half and was slinging the ball like the weather was nothing. So kudos to that young man.
Poor Stroud too. He didn't have his tight end Schultz. He didn't have Tank Dell, and he didn't
Yeah.
have Nico Collins today.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. That's tough, man.
So the
And he hits
Broncos.
his head and gets a concussion.
Yeah, and he got a concussion near the end of the game too.
Mm.
So we got the Bengals, no change. They were at number 10 coming in this week. You think they've moved up, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel pretty comfortable that they update this unless they have an error, because you can see the records are correct. So at least have that game, today's games factored in.
So, Mike, in the private chat, I put a link to ESPN. That might be, I'm pretty sure that's updated already. If you want to check that one out, but it's up to you, obviously.
Let's take a look, buddy. Let's take a look. It's a celebration today, my friend.
Well, I did pick the
right.
Chargers too, so that kind of sucks. It basically took away me picking the Patriots to win because I was like,
Well, that's not working for me, sir.
Let me
It came
try
up for me. That's weird.
Yeah, it came up for me too. Let me try it again.
Let me try
maybe it's because Mike's on the. I don't know.
Might be because I'm using this Bravo browser, which stops a lot of things, a lot of bots and JavaScript and all that good stuff. We're getting technical, but anyhow, the Bills are still there at number 11. I don't think that's changed. The Bengals might have moved up, according to you guys. One of you can share. I mean, Brett, do you have it up?
I do have it up, but give me 1 second. I just want to see if you can pull up the lower seeds, which it does allow me to, but it tells you it doesn't tell you like where the Bills are sitting at currently. So, but it shows me that the Cleveland is at the 5th seed, Pittsburgh is at the 6th seed, and Indianapolis is at the 7th seed.
I just don't see why they would have the Colts over the Bengals because they have the same record and the Bengals beat them, so they shouldn't.
That's
be
weird.
They shouldn't be above the Bengals anyway.
Conference record, are they the same too?
Well, it doesn't matter if they got the head-to-head matchup.
Right.
It's head-to-head first and then conference.
All right,
but you can also on the one that I sent you, Mike, you can also simulate how the Bills get into the playoffs.
oh yeah, Jake and I did that last show. That was kind of fun. Somebody should do that on one of our shows this week.
Yeah, if you guys want to do it Wednesday, we could do it Saturday because we got another week of games done. So,
yeah. All right, so there you go. I mean, I think we got some help. Basically, like we said, when we simulated it, basically you win out. We want to win out. They were saying on the show, the broadcast tonight, that if the Bills were to lose one more, sure, there might be a path. But I mean, you're already looking for a lot of help, and we got some today, but you don't want to be in that situation. So win out and get yourself in. And by the way, there's still an outside chance that the Bills win the division. I know Keith doesn't like to hear that. Keith's from our AFC East Summit show. He's a big Dolphin fan, and he still fears the Bills. I mean, he's always said all year long until it's over, until we've taken the division, I'm not feeling comfortable quite yet. Anyhow, so Jake, I mean, we've had a good hour and 33 minutes going here.
Yeah.
Love it. We could go for hours, but it's a little late on the East Coast. Let me start with you. Give us some final thoughts. I'll go around the board here. Let me get this, stop sharing this so we can see Brett's beautiful face. There we go. Much better.
It's all good, guys. You don't need to see this face. I know Hannah for sure.
Well, in that case,
Hannah's already asleep. She doesn't even want to see this face. She didn't even want a kiss goodnight anymore. She's like, 2 weeks in.
Well, you're married now, so
That's it, brother. Honeymoon phase is over.
Honeymoon phase is gone. You know how it is.
Yeah.
All right, Josh.
Yeah,
so
no.
Let's say I call him. I made the mistake. Dollar in the pot. I called him Josh. Jake, give us your final thoughts, my friend.
It was an amazing victory. It was a much needed one, and it wasn't pretty at times, but hey, this team finally was able to win a close one too. That's kind of been the story of this year, these blown fourth quarter leads. We held off. The defense came up with a big play at the end. Big stop, I should say, not really a big play per se. And listen, this is the start of it. Don't let us get hot now, because we are, and we're going to make the run. And maybe what Brett said is true. We broke the curse. So this is the first of 9 straight, baby. Fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm here for the ride.
I love it. I love it. Sean, final thoughts, sir.
Like Jake said, fantastic win. Part of me feels like we didn't win. I don't know why. I feel so happy, but then at the same time, it's just like I'm kind of like shocked, I guess, still that we actually buckled down and won a game like this year. Because again, this was a 5th chance for the defense having to lead with less than 2 minutes left to win a game, and they actually did. So it's like the shock still hasn't set in yet, but I know I'm super happy, and it was good to see because as we all mentioned, this is literally like it's like a playoff situation. You lose, you're done. So the fact that they went into Arrowhead again and now beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead the last 3 years in the regular season in a row. Now Josh, even though quarterbacks aren't really a win stat, he's the only quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes 2 times in his own stadium in a row, or in general, and 3. So nobody's ever beaten Mahomes more than once in Arrowhead besides Josh. So that's pretty cool. And my camera goes by out right there real quick. But just great. A couple negatives, but the fact that they went into a hostile environment again with the season on the line and they won is also encouraging, because more than likely we're going to have to go to away places for the playoffs if we make it for at least 2 games. So, or basically the whole playoffs. So it's nice to see that we can go in a place like Arrowhead again and beat another winning team. So now we got 2 wins against winning teams, which is good. It feels good. And again, I appreciate you guys having me on, and now we can be happy this week, and we don't have to
Finally
hang our heads in shame and wonder. I mean, still we got to wonder, because it's like, got to keep it up. That was good, but now we got last time I checked, it was 24-6 Dallas. So we're going to have to, really come to play next week.
Yeah, I want them coming in on a win, and that game's next week at 4:25 p.m. Eastern time in Buffalo, at Highmark. So, Jake, I feel like you've been going to every game this year. You going?
No, I'm not going, actually. Believe it or not.
Maybe
that's the key. Maybe that's the key, Mike.
Maybe that
right
is
now,
the key.
Sitting at like I think
Stay
about
at home and chill.
3-2 record with these Bills games in person. So I don't even want to risk it. Not doing
All right,
it.
Brett, your final thoughts, sir.
So for me, I mean, I'm glad to have the gang back together. That's mostly what it comes down to. I'm glad we got a victory. That's the main thing. But I'm also glad to have the 4 of us back together. It's been a long time that we haven't done a show in a couple of weeks, but I'm glad to have Mike and Jake and Sean back on the groove of things, and hopefully we can do more shows together throughout the regular season now. But I'm looking forward to next week against the Dallas Cowboys. I've already gone ahead and looked at the weather report. 47 degrees is what the projected temperature will be. 14-mile-an-hour winds, no precipitation, which is one thing I was praying for. But I'm hoping for a very cold game, some wind that comes into play, which would hurt Dak Prescott a little bit, but it would help Josh Allen. And I'm also hoping, like I said, precipitation would be great, because just to be able to throw the Cowboys off of their game a little bit and put it into the favor of Buffalo, who, we can just run the ball. That's all we need to do. Of the teams that we play going forward, I think that we have the best run game of the teams that we're playing against. So we just need to find a way to win the time of possession battle and just be able to hold on to the ball and not make mistakes. And that's what it's going to have to come down to each and every week. But let's take it one game at a time and just, work our way into things and get into the playoff run, and then we can go on a late season run and get to the Super Bowl.
I love it. I love it. Stefan saying, let us know, man. That would be a huge
There is
advantage.
snow in the forecast this week. I know
Ooh,
that.
That would be a
So-
huge advantage to the Buffalo Bills.
Be cool.
Let's go. So, guys, been fun. Let's end it on this. Hey.
Hey.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Let's go, Buffalo.
The Bills make me wanna
Shout. Bam.
Wow.
Go
Go
Bills.
Go Bills.
We're
Go
terrible.
Bills.
We got to
Go
work on
Bills.
that, guys.
Go Bills.
Got to work